Hi, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead, and I just want to talk for a minute about one of the harder things when we live on a homestead. So we have animals. Now, I don't have very many. As I'm getting older, I found that um, the bigger animals, even the sheep, which people don't think of as that big, they're too strong for me. So I'm down to having poultry as well as my dogs and my cats. And you buy a bunch of them together. Have bought a bunch of them over the years, and then they only live so many years. Uh, some of the smaller, lightweight ones might only live 5 years. Some of the heavier breeds of chickens can live 10, maybe even 11 years. So, quite a long time. Well, I've got a bunch of them that are aging out. And I don't use my old hens as stew hens. Lots of people will. I won't say that that's wrong. They will lay really good for you after they get to be, for me, actually like 7 months old. Sorry, my eye's itching. Um, or 8 months old. They will lay really good for a year and a half, and then it begins to go down. They're not as productive. So if you've got a hen that's living 10 years, you've got a lot of years that she's not at her optimum laying. Instead of laying during the laying season, instead of laying an egg, maybe 6 days a week, maybe they get down to 3, or maybe they get down to 2, or maybe they just quit laying when they're really old. So I think I told you the story about my baby chicks and how they turned out having 3 mothers, and their mother that they have now is really good. And she's a young enough hen that she's doing a great job taking care of, very protective. But the first one got taken by a hawk, and the second hen was one of my old black hens. And she got where she was laying down all the time. And so the baby chicks found that they could get underneath her and they could stay warm. So she had quite a purpose at the very end of her life for, I don't remember, a week and a half or 2. And then I went out one day and she was dead. That's how the babies got to the third mother, which is doing a great job. Well, this last week I had one of my red hens 2 weeks ago, begin to fail. It's easy to tell. Their comb doesn't look so good. They get where it's harder for them to walk. They lose weight when you pick them up. And I knew that she was on her way out. And I've had chickens enough years. I've raised chickens about 43 years now, that it's just part of it. But I don't like them to suffer. But I don't like to kill anything either. In fact, that's how come my chickens live so long, is because I tease and say that I give them a contract that once they're on the farm, that they can live here their entire life. And but there was one hen that was being really mistreated by some of the older poultry about 2 years ago that I just felt so bad for her. I yanked on her neck and she just died easily. So this hen that's been on the way out for a couple weeks now, she's gotten where she can't move at all. Maybe her head just a little bit. And so I would pack her out of the chicken house, take her to the water, and she would drink some water. And then in the evening, I'd pack her back in. And I felt bad because, when I'm not there, I'm not sure how the other chickens are reacting to her. If she got bumped, she would roll. And I began praying kind of half-heartedly, because it's hard for me to pray for this, and asked that, God would just let her die, because I didn't want her to suffer. Well, yesterday I went out and she was still alive. And I thought that you've got to quit being such a coward, Maria. And I remembered how I put down the one hand. So I was holding her, her body, she was very light. And I grabbed her neck and I pulled. And I heard it crink, 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 crink. And then I laid her down, thinking that she was going to die. And she moved her head up and looked at me. I think I gave her a chiropractic adjustment. Maria, the chicken chiropractor. Great. So I took her to the water again. And during the night, I packed her back out. But before I did that, I again tried to put her down. And I talked to some people and they said you can wring their necks. And I know this is pretty graphic, I'm sorry. So I grabbed a hold of her by the neck and I swung her 4 times. And I heard her neck popping, crink, crink, crink. And I laid her down and she looked up at me. Really, why does this happen? It's so strange. I decided that was my last effort. I put her in the chicken house. But today, my friend Patina came and she's helped during butchering time before. And I asked her if she would please put my chicken down. So she did. And that chicken's no longer suffering. But this is one of the difficulties I have on my homestead. So if you have a homestead or you have poultry, leave me a message. Let me know how you handle this situation. It's not a very fun one, but it is one that goes with the territory. So I just thought I would tell you that today. It's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and yours in your house and out of your house, in the day and the night. Whatever you do, keep dreaming. Good night.